Good evening, everyone. My name is Boomslang. Tonight I'll be giving a rundown of the interesting, lost, and mysterious places Iceberg. This is from a post made by the user RAF Centralia, and I have left a link to the original post in the description. I hope you enjoy the video. If you appreciate this content, please consider liking the video, as that is the primary way the algorithm notices my channel. Let's begin. Tier 1 is primarily well-known locations, so I decided to proceed on to Tier 2. Tier 1 included stuff like Easter Island and Pompeii, so I hope you're not heartbroken at the decision to skip to the next tier. Also, some of the more well-known locations like Death Valley, Fort Knox, and the Chicxulub crater were in Tier 2, so I decided to gloss over them in favor of the stranger locations. Let's get into it. US Route 50. US Route 50 is a desolate highway road that runs across the United States, starting at West Sacramento, California, and ending in Ocean City, Maryland. It earned the moniker Loneliest Road in America in a magazine article in 1984. The highway crosses through a handful of towns and no major cities. A large portion of the highway goes through the middle of Nevada and is surrounded by desolate desert for the entirety of the state. There's a lot of marketing by the Highway Department in support of Route 50. It still holds the title of Loneliest Road in America today. UVB 76. UVB 76 is a radio signal continuously broadcasted from a station located a few miles northwest of Moscow. The station sends out a buzzing noise all day, every day. It receives significant coverage in the media. Outlets like the BBC and CNN have written stories about it. Explanations for its signal have been varied, with some thinking it's a dead-hand switch, and some believing it's an espionage tool used by the Russian state. Since the start of Russia's aggression against Ukraine, the station has been sending a variety of different sounds like clicks and chirps, so the theory that it's a way of communicating with Russian spies seems valid. Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is a retreat located in a redwood forest in Sonoma County, California. It's owned by the Bohemian Club, an all-male club founded in 1872 by a group of artists, lawyers, doctors, and other figures of significance in the San Francisco community. The group later grew to include politicians and wealthy businessmen. Since its founding, its members have included people like Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, Walter Cronkite, and Clint Eastwood. It is known for having highly secretive rituals similar to other fraternal orders like the Freemasons. One of the more well-known rituals is the Cremation of Care, instituted in 1881, which members of the club meet in front of a large stone owl in front of the campground and start a bonfire at the base of the statue. Not much else is known about what takes place during the retreat besides lectures, presentations, and networking. Snake Island. Not to be confused with Snake Island in Ukraine. Snake Island is a small island located off the coast of Brazil. For centuries, sailors were warned to avoid the island, as it is well known to house a variety of venomous snakes. It contains a massive variety of endangered snake species and is completely closed off to the public. It's on the top 10 list for most dangerous places in the world, as there are many varieties of snakes that can easily kill people who decide to wander onto the island. I apologize to the people in my audience with severe odiophobia for rekindling your fear. The Crooked Forest. The Crooked Forest is a group of 400 trees located near the town of Gryfno, Poland. Each of the trees take a 90-degree turn at the bottom, giving their trunks a J-shape. They were planted in the 1930s by the town's residents. During the opening months of World War II, the town was destroyed by invading German forces, and the town's residents fled to other places, including people who had knowledge of the forest. Gary Coleman, professor of plant science at the University of Maryland, in an interview with the Washington Post in 2022, had a theory as to why the forest is so crooked. Coleman believes that the reason these trees assumed their slant was from being placed on their sides during their early life. Young trees will often grow horizontally as if they were knocked over during a storm or other event. It's still not known if the tree's curve was caused by a storm or intended by the forest's planners. Door to Hell. The Davarza crater, also called the Door to Hell, is a sinkhole located in northern Turkmenistan. It is a large sinkhole of burning natural gas that has been continuously on fire for 40 years. It was formed in 1971 when a sinkhole opened up beneath a Soviet drilling rig, exposing a massive pocket of methane to the open air. The reaction between the escaping gas and the oxygen present in the atmosphere caused the site to catch fire. It's currently part of the Karakum Desert Nature Reserve. An observation station near the crater's edge is available to the public. Transnistria. Transnistria is a separatist republic located between Ukraine's southwestern border and Moldova. It is not recognized by any state, but has its own national bank, currency, anthem, and flag. Historically, the nation has been ruled at different times by the Ottoman Empire, Soviet Union, and Ukraine. At the moment, it is a close ally to Russia and an enclave for separatists who want to join it. Svalbard Global Seed Vault. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault is a massive cold storage building on an island off the coast of Norway. The vault holds 1,145,693 varieties of seeds from all over the world and has room to store 4.5 million more. The organization running it aims to have duplicates of every known seed, allowing future generations to be able to preserve and use them in case of a worldwide catastrophe. Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe is an ancient temple in northern Turkey. The site is believed to be the world's oldest temple and was constructed in 11,000 BC, roughly 6,000 years before Stonehenge was built. Archaeologists in the past dismissed it as nothing more than a medieval graveyard for crusaders, but in 1994, a German archaeologist looking for artifacts took an interest in the site. After initial excavation and carbon dating, the temple was found to be much older than previously uncovered sites in the Middle East. As of 2022, only 5% of the hill underneath the temple has been excavated. Radiometric data has revealed that there are multiple buildings buried beneath the rubble and dirt, meaning there might be even older structures beneath the temple. Aokigahara Forest. This is a forest on the northwestern slope of Mount Fuji. It is also known as the Sea of Trees. Many people often commit metamorgo exit lobby here. As a result, it's considered one of the most haunted places on Earth. Urban legends say that if you stay in the forest past nightfall, you will be attacked by the spirits of the dead. If you're ever in Japan, consider visiting somewhere else, such as Black Crane Castle or Saigo's house. Very Large Array. The Very Large Array is very large. Just kidding. It's a telescope and radio facility located in New Mexico. It is open to the public, and the site contains a massive group of telescopes and radar stations. The facility regularly looks for radio transmissions from space. It was a big part of the 1997 film Contact, which starred Jodie Foster. Albanian bunkers. The Albanian bunkers were the result of a construction project started by the People's Socialist Republic of Albania in 1968. The dictator at the time, Enver Hoxha, was paranoid that the USSR or a neighboring country were interested in invading Albania. Constructing concrete bunkers became a priority for its military, and over a period of 20 years, 175,000 bunkers were built throughout Albania's towns and countryside. The bunkers were used in the Albanian Civil War and the Kosovo conflict. Today, many of these structures serve second lives as hotels, homes, and even museums. A majority continue to peacefully decay. North Sentinel Island. North Sentinel Island is a small island in the Bay of Bengal, close to India. Indian citizens and foreign tourists are prohibited from visiting the area or going within 3 miles of it. The island is the home of indigenous tribespeople with Stone Age technology, collectively known as the Sentinelese. The islanders are known to kill any outsiders who make their way to the island, as they see other people as a threat to their society. In 2006, a pair of fishermen who made their way to the island to look for a spot to catch fish were brutally murdered by them. An Indian Coast Guard helicopter attempted to retrieve the bodies, but a hail of spears and arrows prevented them from landing. As a result, the government made sure to prohibit people from going anywhere near the island. Vatican Secret Archives. The Vatican Apostolic Archive also called the Secret Archives, is located in a fortress in Vatican City. The library includes almost 53 miles of shelving and some 35,000 cataloged items. Interesting artifacts include the minutes for the trial of the Templar Order in 1307 and the document of excommunication for Martin Luther. The archives are open to the public recently, and tours of a small section of this area of the Vatican are available. Salar de Uyuni. This is a salt flat located near the Andes in Bolivia. It is the largest salt flat in the world, extending some 4,050 square miles. The site once was the seabed for a massive lake. A primary attraction is the Uyuni train graveyard, which houses the wrecks of dozens of old engines that were used to haul tin from mines in the Andes. HAARP Base. The HAARP project was a U.S. military-backed project based in Alaska. The main goal of it was to collect information in the ionosphere, which is a layer of Earth's atmosphere that serves a role in transmitting radio signals. This research was intended to help prevent solar flares that could disable or harm technology. Conspiracies quickly arose, claiming that the U.S. was attempting to build a weather-controlling device. In 2014, the military shut down the program, transferred controlled administration of the site to the University of Fairbanks. Christ of the Abyss. Christ of the Abyss is a submerged statue located near San Francesco, Italy. The statue was cast by the artist Guido Galletti in 1954. The idea to lower the statue was inspired by a diving friend of Galletti's named Giulio Mercante. The statue serves as a memorial to all who have died at sea and those who continue to explore its depths. It's a popular destination for scuba divers around the world. Cat Island, Japan. Aoshima, also known as Cat Island, is a tiny island near Japan. It is known for having large amounts of feline inhabitants, with cats outnumbering the human residents 6-1. Clouders of cats will greet tourists who decide to visit the island. Ḥaġar Qim. Ḥaġar Qim is a series of beautiful ancient temples located on the island of Malta. Many of the structures were built by ancient Maltese civilizations in the period around 3500 BC and are on the UNESCO Heritage Site. Island of the Dolls. This is an island located on a lake near Mexico City. The island is the result of a project by a man named Don Julian. He sequestered himself on the island and spent decades collecting dolls, placing them on trees throughout the island, supposedly to appease the spirits who dwelled on the island. He later passed away and was found dead, floating in the canal near the island. Statue of Unity. The Statue of Unity is currently the world's largest statue, standing some 597 feet tall. It is located in Gujarat, India. The statue depicts a visionary statesman Patel, who was a follower of Gandhi. Patel was a crucial figure in the peaceful reunification of India, helped some 500 princedoms unify into the country of India today. Agartha. Agartha is a fictional kingdom that is said to be located near the Earth's core. It features prominently as a plot point in the Uncharted comics miniseries. Nathan Drake explores the city of Agartha in the course of the comics run. The ancient treasures of the underground city are later destroyed by Nathan's competitors. People who support the Hollow Earth theory tend to believe that a place like Agartha and its treasures are able to exist somewhere below the surface. Tier 3. Pine Gap, Australia Base. Pine Gap is an intelligence gathering facility in the Northwest Territory. The site provides critical information for the U.S. military, the CIA, and the NSA. Most of the U.S. agencies that monitor phones and computers in support of counterterrorism are based out of Pine Gap. It also enables the U.S. to perform fast anti-ballistic missile response and helps coordinate drone strikes. Centralia. Centralia is a ghost town in Pennsylvania. It is well known for inspiring the setting for the Silent Hill series of survival horror games. In 1962, town authorities decided to burn the local landfill to destroy the waste. The fire spread to an old strip mine underneath the landfill, and soon the fire burned in the coal vein directly underneath the town. Despite the lowering air quality, The residents continued their normal activities until 1979, when a massive sinkhole opened up and swallowed a young boy coming back from school. He fortunately was unharmed, but the constant danger of sinkholes opening up and the noxious fumes that contaminated the air drove many people to leave the town over the next decade. In 1992, the Pennsylvania Commonwealth condemned the town's buildings, and the residents left or were forcibly evicted. 8 people decided to remain in the town. The population slowly shrank over the next few years. By 2020, Centralia became a true ghost town and continues to be devoid of life. You can visit the town today, but be warned that the fire continues to contaminate the air. At some point, I plan to hike in this area. Centralia and the derelict turnpike that leads there are on my bucket list. Baltic Sea Anomaly. The Baltic Sea Anomaly is a sonar aberration on the floor of the Baltic Sea. It was discovered by a company mapping the ocean floor in 2011. Divers later went to the area to take photos of the strangely shaped object. The photos were circulated throughout the internet. People soon began to speculate that the photos were of a sunken city or crashed alien spaceship. Samples of the object were examined by scientists. After testing was finished, the formation was revealed to be an ancient glacial deposit formed by the shifting of glaciers during the Ice Age. Members of the original team who found it still maintain that it is not a natural formation. After all, it does bear a striking resemblance to the Millennium Falcon from some angles. Rockall. Rockall is a tiny uninhabited island between Greenland and Ireland. The inlet is the smallest piece of territory owned by the United Kingdom, measuring 8,442 feet. It's mildly interesting, but I'm not sure why it's here in Tier 3. Adams Bridge. Adams Bridge is a series of shoals and reefs spanning the sea between India and Sri Lanka. It's a beautiful location that was once a causeway connecting the two countries. Holds mythical significance for a variety of religions in the area. Muslims have a tradition that Sri Lanka was once the Garden of Eden, that Adam took the causeway when he's kicked out of it. The Hindus' tales say the bridge was built by an army of monkeys working for the god Rama. Bermeja. Bermeja was a tiny island recorded on maps from the 17th to the 20th century. Its location was given on these maps as 22 degrees 33 degrees north, 91 degrees 22 degrees east in the Gulf of Mexico. However, the island began to disappear from Victorian-era maps of Mexico. In 1921, the island was put on a map for the last time. Since then, the island of Bermeja has completely disappeared from maps and is not present at the given coordinates. Some experts believe the island sank due to rising sea levels at some point the last century, but for now its fate remains a mystery. Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones were a series of granite monuments unveiled in 1980. A man named R.C. Christian entered the town of Elberton in the summer of 1979 and talked to the city council about a plan to build an American Stonehenge. The town approved of the project, and Christian began work on the structures. Messages in Arabic, Greek, Sanskrit, and a variety of other languages were sandblasted into the granite structure's components. The messages outlined Christian's plan for a new form of government. Some of the rules included keeping the population of the world under 500,000, monitoring relationships so that only the strongest and fittest people were born, and making sure that mankind was in balance with nature. In essence, the man's beliefs were if the Sierra Club and eugenics combined to make a religion. The structure and the messages on it gave a lot of opportunities for conspiracy theories. In July 2022, a bomb went off at the site, destroying most of the monument. As of August, investigations are still ongoing. The Veryovkina Cave. The Veryovkina Cave is the deepest cave on Earth, with a depth of some 7,257 feet. In 2018, the team reached the bottom of the cave over the course of a week, but barely escaped with their lives when a flash flood rose suddenly during the exploration. Roller Coaster Bridge. The Roller Coaster Bridge is located in western Japan. The bridge gets its name from the steep incline leading to the top of it. The design was made to allow ships to pass under it. The result is a bridge that is guaranteed to give most drivers nausea and has a variety of twists and turns down its length. Die Raserbrücke. This entry refers to a bridge in Saxony, Germany. The bridge is set in a great location, and the beautiful scenery makes the bridge seem like something out of a fairy tale. It's commonly called the Devil's Bridge, as the locals say the only way something so beautiful was built was with the devil's help. What's really neat about the bridge is the rock formations on the left of the bridge are not natural rock spires, but are in fact man-made. Mapimí Silent Zone. The Mapimí Silent Zone is a patch of desert located near the outskirts of Durango, Mexico. Urban myths say that radio communications won't work in this area, and compasses and phones will malfunction. In the 1970s, an American missile malfunctioned and fell into the center of the desert. Fortunately, the missile wasn't carrying a payload, but this event helped solidify the legend of the Silent Zone. Kolmanskop. Kolmanskop is a ghost town in Namibia. It was a former diamond mining town, and at one point in 1912, had the highest wealth per capita of any city of the world, and its workers mined well over 12% of the world's diamonds that year. Over a period of half a decade, some 5 million carats of diamonds were extracted. It contained everything from an opera house to an ice packing plant in its heyday. By 1954, most of Kolmanskop's profits were gone. The town was soon abandoned and left to the elements. Today, it remains a popular tourist attraction. Be warned, it's well over 1,000 miles from the closest airport, so it's a little bit more out of the way than some of the other locations on this list. Denver Airport. The Denver Airport has spawned a variety of popular conspiracies. There's a lot of fodder for that. The website says that they're not the headquarters for the New World Order, but isn't that just what members of a secret society would say? Jokes aside, there's some interesting design choices in the airport. There's a time capsule in a section of the airport with Freemason iconography all over it. And the murals are pretty strange. It wasn't the artist's intent, but the murals are uncanny and give this end-of-the-world vibe. And the runways do look a little like a certain fanatical organization's logo. I've got to hand it to the people at Denver International Airport. They've actively used all the conspiracy theories to make the airport a place worth checking out, and a way to sell merch. Room 39. Room 39 isn't so much a place as it is an organization. It's not a place, it's a people. Room 39 is a slush fund that helps the famous North Korean dictator live in luxury. The organization is said to be based out of the Workers' Building in Pyongyang City, but no one knows for sure. Room 39 controls the majority of legitimate North Korean businesses, inland and overseas, uses them as a front to conduct everything from selling military equipment on the black market to exporting dangerous drugs abroad, to even illicit trafficking. These illegal activities allow North Korean officials to live in wealth at the expense of the North Korean population's health. It's extremely corrupt, shows just how screwed up the North Korean government is. Sandy Island. Sandy Island has pretty much the same backstory as Bermeja from earlier on the Iceberg. Sandy Island was a ghost island recorded as being between New Caledonia and Australia up until the 19th century. After that point, it completely disappeared from the record, and no island has been found at its given coordinates. Gunkajima Island. This entry refers to an abandoned mining facility near Nagasaki. It was also called Battleship Island. The site was a massive coal mining facility that was open from 1870 to 1974. It was also used as a forced labor colony during World War II, and Korean and Chinese civilians were forced to make machines and engines during that period. It also escaped the destruction caused by the nuclear bombing of Nagasaki. It was later abandoned, and in 2009, Japan requested it be made a UNESCO heritage site. This was initially opposed by the North and South Korean governments, but the bill later passed after Japan promised to build a memorial and museum for those prisoners who worked on the island. At the moment, the island can be accessed with a permit. The site makes me wonder what industrial cities will look like far in the future when they've given in to decay. Tunguska Event. The Tunguska Event occurred in 1908, when an asteroid entered the Earth's atmosphere and burned up 40 miles in the sky. This caused a massive fireball that scorched some 800 miles of Siberian wilderness. People as far away as 40 miles from the blast site felt the immense heat from the destruction of the asteroid, and bark was stripped from the trees for well over 20 miles from the blast site. Royal Air Force, Menwith Hill. This site is similar to the Pine Gap entry from earlier in the Iceberg. There's not a lot to say about the site besides it being a big intelligence center for NATO and the NSA. Viaduto Petrobras. This is an abandoned highway deep in the Brazilian jungle. The site was part of a national highway project started in the 70s as part of Brazil's project to modernize their highways. This section of the highway was left to rot after the highway department ran out of funds. 33. Thomas Street. This one is pretty interesting. 33 Thomas Street is a 550-foot tall skyscraper in New York City. The building was built in 1974 and has no windows, just a pair of metal-covered air circulation systems located at the top. The building was built to withstand a nuclear blast, so windows were not part of its design. It also contains cold storage for up to 1,500 tons of food. It has a variety of survival equipment and air systems that filter out radiation. At the moment, it serves as a station for AT&T. If you make an international call on the AT&T network, it will most likely be going through this building. It's also said to be a spy hub for the NSA. I mean, if I was an intelligence agency, I would be setting up shop in a skyscraper with no windows and a handful of access points. Lake Hillier. Lake Hillier is a pink lake. It's very pink, pretty cool to look at. That's about it. This entry should probably be on Tier 2 instead of Tier 3. Mystery Spot in California. The Mystery Spot is a tourist attraction outside of Santa Cruz. The site is a house that consists of oddly tilted construction. Thanks to this, objects in the house seem oddly tilted or elongated, and visitors' perception is really screwed up. Gravity Hill. This isn't a location as much as it is a phenomenon. Gravity hills are places in the countryside where descending slopes look like they're actually uphill due to the landscape shape. When you look at these places, water appears to flow uphill during rainstorms, and cars out of gear will look like they're rolling up the hill instead of down the hill. The real Sword in the Stone. This refers to a sword buried in bedrock inside of an abbey near Siena, Tuscany. The sword was placed there by a man known as Saint Giudice. Saint Giudice was a wealthy knight born in Siena in 1148. In 1180, he decided to become a hermit and soon received a vision from the Archangel Michael, telling him to give away his earthly possessions. Giudice resisted, saying that to do so would be as difficult as splitting a stone. To prove his point, he thrust his sword to a nearby rock. The sword entered the stone as if it was made out of water. Giudice left the sword in the stone on a hilltop as a symbol of the cross. He was soon canonized as a saint. The sword was later placed in a nearby abbey to commemorate the knight and his sacrifice. For a long time, historians believed the sword was some sort of hoax, but carbon dating revealed that the sword is in fact from that period. Even if you don't believe the backstory, it's clear that somehow the sword was embedded in the stone. Deadvlei. Deadvlei is a patch of salt desert located in Namibia. The most interesting part of this park is the dead trees scattered throughout. Many of the trees are well over 1,000 years old and are a window into a time when the surrounding desert was once ancient grasslands. The desert plants in the park are still alive, and some of the larger specimens are estimated to be some 1,500 years old. Google Earth in Snow Saddle. This refers to an area in the Himalayas that was obstructed and blurred out on satellite images. Kontanga Peak is located deep within Tibet and was blurred out in Google Maps up until the end of 2021. Club 33. This has no relation to Room 39 from earlier. Club 33 is a VIP-only series of clubs located in Disneylands throughout the U.S. The club gets its name from the original address of the first VIP club, located on 33 Royal Street in New Orleans. The only way to get in is by emailing Disney at the club's designated address. Memberships are said to cost around $30,000 initially, and then some $15,000 annually after that. Some benefits of the club include passes good for all 365 days of the year, 50 one-day park hopper tickets, 5 VIP guided tours, and a chance to meet celebrities such as Tom Hanks and Rebel Wilson. Alright, that is it for the first part of this Iceberg series. Part 2 will be out in the near future. I hope you enjoyed the video. I wish you a good night. Peace out.